spiders.
Right.
Get the other one.
What the hell y'all talking about? What got squished?
There's these bugs that are like an off-breed of stink bug, but apparently these bastards are from Colombia and carry some kind of virus with them. They have somehow made their way into the house. I've killed 8 of them. I still can't figure out how these little shitheads keep getting in here.
I'm on my 15th one.
They're worse than wood elders. It's one thing if it's wood elders, because those are just annoying and they have colors. These, if you kill them, it smells like rotten apples. But apparently if these fuckers bite you, you get something called, what was it called? Sugar virus?
It's called the Chagas virus.
Chagas virus, which is like flu-like shit, but you could have problems later in life because of it. So I'm like, yay.
It causes deformations in the heart. In about 20% of the people who get bit.
Yeah, peachy.
Ain't nobody used to give a damn. Yeah, I had to go and make a different plan. Yeah, guess who didn't get included? Even though you made me better, yo, I strictly do it for the fam.
That is a very peachy thing, and welcome everyone back to What Grinds Our Gears, the podcast. Well, sadly today we don't have Hubs or Sally, because Sally is sick and Hubs is preoccupied. But still joining me as always now is Streets and Phoenix! We still have to do it because you guys don't know my big sister. She's a very energetic person.
So energetic. All the cupcakes.
All them cupcakes, all them sweets, all them everythings.
All the caffeine in the
all the
world.
things. All of the things.
All the things.
Yeah. But this week we're talking about stuff related to horror movies.
Should we do like specific, or are we just gonna kind of bounce around with horror movies, you think? Because
well, we can start with recent horror movies and then dip into classics. And
I hate all the new ones. They don't scare me.
did you see Insidious 4?
I tried, but I fell asleep.
Oh no.
How?
Vinny, I has much sadness for you. I really enjoyed that one.
I started, and then I was like, okay. Then the credits hit inside the movie. I'm like,
oh no.
and then people woke me up like, huh? Did they get to the scary part? It's over, sir. What? I was only asleep for 5 minutes, sir. It's been 2 hours.
It's a good movie.
Well, to each his own. But then there's also the fabled B-rated horror movies, and those are just fun to watch because they are so bad.
So bad.
As fun as those B-rated disaster movies.
The best part about B-rated, I think, is if you get a good shot system going. Like every time they do a trope of any kind, any horror movie trope. Like every time the blonde shows her tits, take a shot. Every time the stoner does something stupid,
take a shot.
Take a hit.
Oh, my favorite is placing bets on who will die first.
Oh, that's always fun. We would do shot bets. I bet 3 shots. This particular guy would go first. If you were wrong, you have to take your 3 shots.
And then we'd also have to bet who would survive out of the entire movie. We really get screwed over if nobody survives. But those are like
the best movies,
those are
though.
few and far between, though.
Cabin in the Woods got us.
Damn it, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, it was. Spoiler alert: nobody survives.
Aw, yay! My favorite.
It's always best when they all die together.
Actually, I was watching a decent B-rated movie last night. I complained to Shweebe about it for like an hour.
Pretty much.
I spent the first... It was an hour and 15-minute movie. I spent the first 55 minutes absolutely loving every bit of this movie. Every single bit was absolutely spot on. They did great with the... It's B-rated, so don't expect like over-the-top acting. Well, no, actually, over-the-top acting is where it is.
Over dramatic acting.
Yeah, but this was decent for a B-rated movie. I was actually going, all right, this is low A end. And then they got the ending, and I went, the fuck did I waste my time with this movie for? Because, no, it's called The Monster Project, and I do recommend watching it. It's a very good B-rated movie, and they put a lot of money into this film, and I am very happy with it up until about the 54-minute mark. because then they're like, well, we don't have an ending, so
I'm just gonna start making up crap.
Let's go the cliche route of Antichrist.
Which doesn't fit the movie at all.
The entire beginning of the movie is these guys are getting together. They want to do interviews with monsters in the area. So they put an ad on Craigslist. Hey, any monsters in this area? We're looking to meet you. We'd like to have an interview with you. They get a skin changer, a Native American werewolf. They get a vampire, and then they get a demonically possessed Japanese girl.
Because of course she's Japanese.
Why not?
Right.
It was really, really well done, though. They stuck to the lore of the different characters as well.
Yeah, he was ranting and raving like, just, oh my god, they stuck with the lore. They even the biggest one is where the vampire, when she shows up, she asks if she can come in. Which not very many people know about that one, but when he said that to me, I was like, oh wow, they actually did their research. That is amazeballs. But I wasn't watching it, I was doing other things. But I knew instantly when this movie decided to go south, because all I hear in the opposite side of the room is, are you serious? That's so stupid.
Yep. Literally, the movie was great, and then they're like, oh, let's make a very complicated, stupid ending that all involves the creation of the Antichrist.
Which didn't fit the theme at all.
No.
Because,
the whole movie
because
is about
of course,
vampires and monsters.
of course they need the of course, but how much cocaine did they have for breakfast?
A lot. A lot.
I was gonna say, Vinny, are you breaking up for what's going on?
I'm just like, I think, of course, but how much cocaine was in Desuru? And don't you, and I don't want to hear, don't you mean cocaine in this cereal? No, cocaine in Desuru.
So much so, I could caulk my walls with it. You don't need to do a line, you just go up and lick the side of the wall, just, eh. What a rush! Let's go make movies, now!
But I know one of the few horror movies I kind of felt uncomfortable watching, not because it was horrifying, but because it was just so unnerving in how bad it was this film of Better Watch Out, where it was this creepy kid trying to get with his babysitter. So he sets it up where her current boyfriend that she's about to leave when she's moving away, and her ex-boyfriend who was kind of abusive, come to his house, where he and his friend, who's a, I guess, 12-year-old stoner, because of course, 12-year-old stoner in a gated community, they organize trying to torture people until they start murdering people. This is the mind of a 12-year-old just like, if I can't have my babysitter, I guess I'll kill everyone involved. And then she'll have to love me. And it's just like, no, sir. Even if this was supposed to be suspension of disbelief, Ed Wood would have to stop you like, no. Time to fuck out. What? And then it just ends after the girl supposedly survives to all of a sudden be like, Mom, Dad, I'm worried about my babysitter. We should probably visit her in the hospital.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just so unnerving in how bad it was that I almost was just like, you know what? The Babysitter on Netflix might have merit now. I almost thought that.
Wow.
Oh, that reminds me of another equally twisted horror movie where this girl ends up, she was backpacking in the woods. She gets separated from her friends and ends up in a rape scene, only to be almost killed. She ends up falling into the lake and right in the river downstream, only to end up in her own backyard. Her parents find her, take her inside, and then these guys show up at the door. The next half of the movie is the parents brutally murdering these guys over the course of the movie. And I don't get me wrong, there's some sweet revenge, but they are very graphic for the first half of the movie. To make the second half's graphic content I guess, equal out. Like,
overall, it just was kind of like a ew fest.
oh yeah, you were so scarred by the rape scene that it's like I can't enjoy the fact that they're. I mean, I enjoy it because there's justice and revenge, but I can't enjoy it as much because I'm still a little grossed out by that whole first half of the movie.
I think the problem with modern horror movies is that everyone's trying to do that big jump scare factor of just like, do you see this? You see this? Just be afraid of this. You see this? See this? It's not touching you, but it is making you feel bad in a way. Go on, touch it, fondle it. Like, no, sir, no, I don't want to fondle this person being brutally murdered. Come on, you know you want to fondle it. Just take a little bit. No, I don't want to do this.
Well, I'd say what I do agree with. What I would like to see horror movies do, in the future anyways, is go back to subtlety and not actually showing exactly what is chasing you, because more often than not, the makeup and or just CGI graphics are just so bad with what it is that you've got people believing to be afraid of, that you're like, now I can't fill in what I think I'm actually afraid of, and it looks stupid.
Like Krampus.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Krampus, but I'll take your word for it. What was the it's a series of movies that we've been watching. Was it Annabelle? Is Annabelle the one with the blue demon?
Yeah.
Okay, so I enjoyed the Annabelle movies up until they actually started showing the demon, and he's blue and creepy. The stairs scene would have been creepier, I think. Sorry for the spoiler warnings and stuff. Yeah, sorry, too late, it's there. Would have been more scared of that scene alone if they hadn't actually shown what the demon looked like, just had like a pair of eyes and like a black mist or something, and you had to kind of guess what was there. That crap is scary. In Insidious 4, the scariest scene in that entire thing for me was when it looked like there was this just, well, it looked like a giant shadow figure walking behind Elise. For her to turn around and realize that all it is a coat, but at first you swore that thing moved. That is what's scary. Go back to that.
I think... I'm sorry, Phoenix, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, on the subject of trying to keep the villain masked, as it were. The Devil was a really good movie. They reveal the face of the villain in the last 3 minutes, and I am very happy they did, because it is such a shitty fucking monster. It is terrible. But because they waited until the last 3 minutes to do it, the entire movie was fantastic in that you never saw what was trying to scare you, what was attacking you. It showed up in different forms, but never did you see it in its true form until the end, and it looks so fucking shitty. It's comical. But up until that point, it was actually scary. This thing actually was instilling some sort of primal fear in you because of the way it was doing its thing. But then it showed up, and it looked shitty, and you laugh at it. I call that an okay ending.
I think the best one, at least from the old genre, I can't say anything about the new one because most modern horror movies to me are just very boring, but if I were to choose an older one that people should take note of, I would say the 1970s version of Black Christmas, about how they set up the fear and tone and how they never reveal how anything actually happens. It just kind of builds up your whole fear and suspense about how did whoever this one guy's eyeball had this girl basically plastic wrapped into a rocking chair into the attic. How did he actually murder the house mom? Was he actually...
Benny helped must chase me. Scared the crap out of me. He was right all up in my ear. Jesus.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, but I hate it so much. I swear it's the same one.
It is.
I'm sorry.
That was amazing.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You have that on camera.
I was afraid for my life. Oh, God.
I'm so glad we got that on film.
I fucking hate you.
So anyway, yeah. And even at the finale where you're just all of a sudden just holding on to those last minutes with the last living person, and it just only has Agnes, it's me, Billy. And then just closes out there with just that haunting melody of Silent Night into the background, or just that one random phone call ringing of just like brrr, brrr. That's fucking beautiful. I love horror movies that do that, because then I actually had chills when I watched that on like an actual Christmas day. I was just like, run, bitch!
Why are you staying in the freaking out?
Have you seen the new It movie?
Yeah, I have seen the new It, but I have issues with them trying to make Pennywise overly scary and not have a balance of comedy and scare, because, you know, he's a fucking clown.
Yes, he is. Honestly, I think the first one they did had all the humor it needed, which is what made it amazing. You had Tim Curry being funny. It wasn't really scary. I'm sorry, even 3-year-old me did not find the original It scary.
I mean, how can you be scared of Mr. Sweet Transvestite being Pennywise the Dancing Clown?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Tim Curry is such an amazing actor. That was a psychological horror to no end, and he had so much comedy in it. It kind of veered from that scary of it. But then again, that was also very much watered down for the TV of the 80s. So
Flash forward to 2017, where Billy gets his arm ripped off. You see charred bodied arms just crawling from the door to scare off what's his face. The token fat kid getting his stomach cut. At least they had kept away from the kid orgy scene in the sewer.
I am really glad they did not add that scene.
Or even hint at it, because I would have left the theater, but
yeah, would have called that
even Stephen King was like, honestly, it was just a dream. I can't help that, and I just wrote it down because it did. It wasn't in the old movie. What makes you think it was going to be in the new movie?
It had its purpose.
All I know is, Stephen, I still can't respect you for writing that.
You still could have chose to left it out, I guess.
The whole thing was the darkest book he possibly could.
He succeeded.
He wanted to touch on everything that we don't acknowledge in society. Everything. Every possible outcome that was our deepest, darkest parts of society.
And
I'm
not someone that shied away from it, Phoenix, but I'm just like, why the children orgy scene in the sewer?
Preteen.
That makes it worse!
They're still kids.
Oh, no. Technically, they were, what, 14?
That's still
I'm not defending it in any way. I'm just saying.
If there's a teen after your number, you're too young. That's how I look at it. I don't want to see it. When you hit 20, then I'm like, all right, fair game. You are more than an adult by now.
I agree. I don't like the scene. I believe it at the time had some purpose in the book. I'm glad he left it in the book.
Yeah.
That's where it needs to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as the rest of it, I was really impressed with how they specifically went after the children's individual fears. I mean, they had to change some because, I'm sorry, I don't know how they would have been able to add in the, who was the Paul Bunyan scene.
Yeah, that was weird.
They did an homage to it, showing the giant Paul Bunyan statue, which is actually insane, but I don't see how they could have added him as Richie's, fear in the movie without adding another 30 minutes worth of video.
Like explanation and stuff. Yeah. So it was a lot easier for him to just go, clowns. So who the fuck's not afraid of clowns? Clowns are... Ugh,
I'm not afraid. I only have like an instinct thing. I'm just like, if you touch me, clown, I will slit your throat.
That's pretty much it. Like, that fear just turns into, I will kill you, stay away. You need to keep at least 5 feet and probably then some, because that's still swinging range for me.
Mm-hmm. Just a general unease around clowns.
That's because I don't trust Harlequins. Even in the old court, they just seem like they were messengers from hell. Like, good news, sire! We're going to war! What? How is this good news? For you see, I am the reason we're going to war! But you're supposed to be the court jester, fool. I was! I really was!
And then I pissed on the other king's leg.
It's because I made a wisecrack about his fat wife.
Turns out it was his son.
Oh, splendiferous.
Yeah, fucking Harlequin. Anyway, moving away from clowns and Harlequins before I take out my knife. I think the only modern horror film I was kind of impressed with, unfortunately, for people that are uneasy with Stephen King, I gotta go back to him. To some degree, Gerald's Game left me a little impressed.
Did you watch that one?
I don't think I've seen that one.
I don't think I've seen it either. When did that one come out?
It came out last year as finally an adaptation to probably the only Stephen King book I religiously read, of this old couple, well, not really old, but reaching the old stage of middle-agedom, of being like, honey, we don't have sex anymore, so I'm gonna rent us out a cabin. There's not gonna be anyone for days, so we can get as freaky as we want. I also brought handcuffs, so we can do some fantasies. And then as soon as they're doing the roleplay thing, well, in the book, she kicks him in the balls after he takes some Viagra, and he dies from a huge blood flow thing that ended up giving him a heart attack. And in the movie, he only has a heart attack. But she's still handcuffed to the bed where there's a dog that's ready to eat her. And then there's a guy made from moonlight that's coming night after night, just stalking her and talking to her as she's just talking these figments in her mind and reliving basically when her dad jizzed on her as a kid during a solar eclipse. And it's just like, he literally says to her, in the book, he says if she doesn't escape when he comes back the following night, he'll kill her. In the movie, he just keeps staring at her as if made by moonlight, just watching her as if he's like a deer with its eyes caught in headlights, like, I'm going to kill you. It's very unnerving, but the only problem with the movie, away from the books, was, and this is like my own little hang-up, where in the books it was more, she couldn't escape because the bed frames had these fat knobs that she couldn't get away from with the handcuffs, because the only way to get out the handcuffs in either story is degloving, which makes sense. In the movie, they're bean pole things attached to the bed, meaning she could have slid one arm out and freed herself from the other arm and gotten away. It's just a cosmetic thing that bothered me the whole movie.
No, that's not really a cosmetic thing. I mean, I understand the point of it, but at the same time, if the entire point of it is that she was supposed to be trapped there, that's like, oh, we've got this movie about an elephant who's chained to this stump, and then you don't put the chain in the movie. The elephant's just standing there for an hour and a half, and that's the whole movie.
I get that point, but the way of just, she tried to escape, I had to stop the movie, like, if you just calm down after, I guess, hour 4 to just slide one arm out from the bean pole,
yeah, the
escape would have been more realistic. But it's just that whole thing that bothered me about how they made the set pieces.
Well, yeah, I wasn't talking about like the storyline of the book. What I was saying is, like in the movie, if there's no chain holding the elephant down, why is it standing there for an hour and a half? It could easily walk away. If she has a means of escape, sitting there in the room in the dark doesn't make any sense.
True.
It defies the point of the movie.
Right, because any person that doesn't want to be in a situation like that will fight and find a way to get out of it. Unless they were, like, you know, mind broken.
You look like a flower in full bloom. Every time I talk to you, I really don't know what to do, baby. You're stuck inside my head at night when I'm in